This Sunday. Every Sunday, side by side at the microphone, from the green light to the speed trap, Chris Switzer and Ray Garino calls them as they sees them, and you better believe them. Here, relevant news, biased opinions, and outright bullshit regarding every aspect of automotive culture. Gasp at mechanical trickery never before revealed over FCC-regulated airwaves. Thrill to the explosive tension as Chris and Ray cuss each other down the track and barrel roll across the finish line, laughing at certain disaster as they shake hands with the devil. All that and much more this Sunday at high noon on the Motormouth Radio Hour. Call in and speak live with the Wizards of Speed and live feed, Chris Switzer and Ray Garino. Bring the whole family. Kids under 12 get in free. Every Sunday at noon on WHPC. Take the Long Island Expressway to the Meadowbrook Parkway and look for the sign saying no parking on the expressway and no express service on the parkway. Go right on Highway 24 to Garden City. $2 all-day parking includes pit pass. Sunday!
Oh, Hot Rod to Hell brings you to Radio Show from Hell, which is, of course, the bottom of the dial, Motormouth Radio, Long Island's only automotive talk show, with your hosts, Ray Guarino, and the guy who penned, wrote, and performed all the parts in this song, Chris Switzer. How are you, Chris?
Yeah, I lost a couple of teeth doing that, too.
So did everybody in the audience. Yes.
How are you, Ray? On the best show ever to go viral, trying to go viral since 2007. Motormouth Radio, a fine, upstanding program. At least it was.
I think, yeah, somewhere along the line, someone had a virus. I know that.
Yeah, right. Guaranteed to give you a virus. Motormouth Radio.
There you go.
How are you doing? What's going on?
Oh, very good. It's been a busy time, busy week, lots of stuff going on. And as far as today goes, we didn't get to do a pre-show. We may have a guest calling in. Our good friend Clay Koon from down in Mississippi. He was over at the PRI show, as was Lewis Lee and our good friend Terry and a bunch of other guys. That's the Performance Racing Industry show. It was up in Indianapolis this weekend. So we did a Thursday night show, the Play and Traffic show we did with them from PRI, which was kind of cool. So
yeah, I kind of caught the beginning of the Thursday show.
Okay.
The part where you weren't there.
Yeah, well, of course, because, Lewis found a new platform, and that's like last week, the week before, and I got right on. I followed his link. I signed up. I registered, said, let me get this taken care of so I know it's all done. Right. And, of course, Thursday night I sign in, and I'm looking at a blank screen like, huh? And, there's nobody there. I'm like, okay, what's going on? So once I got a hold of him, he sent me another good link to the show. I was able to come in. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was chuckling. I was like, wow, Ray's having the problem I've had every Thursday.
It happens. We'll see what happens next week. Maybe it'll work. But
technology bites you in the butt. I get it. Yeah. I get it. It's part of my world. That's for sure.
But the cool thing is, we're going to talk. We'll see if Clay remembers it, because he literally just flew back in yesterday, and then he had to go out and film a band that night. He's processing his videos, trying to get that done. And, because he did tool videos and stuff. So I asked him to come on, and we'll see. Hopefully he'll make it. But there's something that I wanted to mention to the audience and yourself. Of course, you can call us at 516-572-7440 and follow us on all the social media platforms, Facebook and the web. And what's the other one? Let's see. Facebook, the web, and Twitter is Motormouth Radio, and Instagram is real_Motormouth Radio.
_ Yes.
So,
and smoke signals and shooting flares and mental telepathy. We cover it all here on this program.
Right. Okay. So what happened is during the week, as I've said in the past, I've kind of got addicted to watching YouTube as TV. It just replaces TV for me, right? And I love watching all the guys I follow, like Clay, and there's other tool videos. Is some tool truck stuff I watch, and if you looked at my playlist, it's like my music collection. You'd say, "Oh my God, what is this like?" You just threw something at the wall and said, "Let's look." No, that's kind of what I'm interested in.
Right. Varied and eclectic and strange, like you.
And right, exactly, exactly. And one of the things I found was a video from the GTO-AA, the GTO Association of America, put this one up, and it looked like a commercial, but it was too long. It's like 7 minutes, and it was like a commercial for the '66 Chevelle SS of all things, and they pitted it against a GTO, 66 GTO, and a Ford GT. And the premise was the guy he was driving an old Plymouth, and in the beginning of the video, the thing just kind of blows itself up on the side of the road.
And this was produced in 1966. It's not produced recently, right?
Well, our web impresario and myself were discussing this the other day, and it looks to be pretty much like an old. You could make something look old today with, but no, too many cues in here look like it was done back in the day. So the guy gets out of the car and he finds a guy standing on the side of the road, a guy in this like Nehru jacket and bald head and kind of almost look to me alienish. And the guy driving the car that blew up, he's referring to him as 007 and 7/8, James Bond. And again, this is all spoof off stuff from Popular for the Day. So the guy in the car says, no, you got that wrong. My name isn't James Bond. It's James Bland. Because he drives his bland car and he's a bland guy. So this guy who's Dr. Yes, not Dr. No, right?
Oh, I can see this is very 1966 humor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they were going to get him in a better car. And that's where this shoot-off came in. So anyway, I was thrilled. I thought this video was cool. I sent it to a couple of guys and got a lot of feedback. So when I talked to our web guy the other day, I said, hey, you know what? This is something that may be worth putting on the website. Let's just see. If I got traction from a small group of guys that were all over this, let's see what goes on with a larger audience. So if you go to motormouthradio.com, it's right on the homepage. It was also posted on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram over the weekend, so you can find it there. So your platform of choice, you can find it, and you can listen to that and watch it. Nah, it's just, it's kind of cool, and let us know what you think about it. It's... we'll get some traction with somebody else's stuff these days. That's Dr. Yes and James Bland. He's 007 and 7/8.
Oh yeah, this just by the first frame, I think you could tell it doesn't look new. It looks old. But
some really smart cinematographers can make stuff look really old.
True. But like you say, there are cues. And here's the funny thing. I totally understand. But you ever watch the one I'm thinking about right now is Mad Men. If you watch Mad Men, they try and make it look like the 60s, but because we've lived through the 60s, that there are those subtle cues that millennials or whomever's usually they're young people that are writing these shows, that don't know. It doesn't translate. They weren't there. So they don't see those subtle cues that you will see in a true 60s video footage.
Yeah, and the thing was, that show, I was a fan of that show, as you know. I know you weren't because you had to work with the damn thing, but I was.
Worked on it.
And I read many articles about it, and they said that the guys who worked, like the prop guys, really went through great pains. It was like... it was kind of like Stanley Kubrick-ish. They were working on every detail. Like it had to be the right era of IBM Selectric typewriter. It had to be the right phone and the right decanter, for the scotch. So that was very realistic.
They put in their time.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. But there were some miscues. And I'm just trying to remember. I wish I could remember which ones there were
I guess
at
it's
the time
inevitable.
But I think I told you, I could swear, because I had so many rotary phones at my disposal back in my early life that I sold to prop houses in the city. I could swear that some of those phones that were in those shows started out in my garage.
You never know. Anything's possible, Yeah,
it's the truth.
I mean,
but yeah, they did take great pains, but there were some small little things, and I'm trying to remember what they were.
Yeah, look what happened when we did when we filmed that show Hard Part South Bronx with the guy up in the Bronx, right? I mean, the premise was we were going to do a radio show from this auto parts store on the sidewalk, and they brought in a console, headsets, mics, the whole schmagiggy, and you said, okay, it was just a prop. We weren't really doing a radio show. But the cool thing was they had it was working gear because we were able to hear each other through the headphones and mics. That stuff worked, which I thought was like a real nice touch.
It really was. It's the truth. And they did. It wasn't like it was plastic prop stuff. It was real equipment that they happened to be using as props. And it happened to work, which was kind of cool.
That was Joe Ferrer from
Joe Ferrer.
BS&F Auto Parts. Now, he doesn't own the business anymore. He finally sold that business.
No, we heard him on a commercial. What was it for?
He became the national spokesman for Pep
Boys.
Boys.
For a chain store. Pep Boys. Yeah.
But now Pep Boys was sold, I believe. So I don't know what he's doing now. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were in the car one day, my wife and I, and we heard him on the radio. Right. We both looked down at the dash at the radio, and that's Joe Ferrer.
Right. Oh, funny stuff.
Miss him. He was a good guy. Yeah. It was fun to work with.
Right.
Had a good time working with Joe. Yeah, we have to find that episode of Hard Part South Bronx. We had a good time doing that. That was our foray into reality television.
I enjoyed it. I do have a copy of it. The producers were supposed to send us, their real copies of it, and we never did get that. But I actually, copied it. I recorded the whole series of shows off of TV on DVDs. So I recorded it, and now I do. So I do have a copy of that show.
I think we should put our episode on Motormouth Radio on the website.
That's an idea.
If we have the space for it, that would be very cool, because I would like to see it again. It's been how long? 10 years?
I think it was. What year was that? Jeez,
when did we do it?
I don't remember. I don't remember years. I don't remember. I never remember.
Yeah, it was like
2012, 2010. I don't know.
Yeah, it was back there.
Yeah, it's 10 years plus. Yeah, I guess.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Our television career was fleeting.
Yeah, it was one episode.
You miss it.
Forget one season, we had one episode. All right, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go to the phones. We're going to go to the fun and say, hi, you're on with the Motor Mouths.
What's going on, man?
There he is, Mr. Clay Koon with his with the radio voice, because I know he was out late working last night.
What's up, Clay? How are you, my brother?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm proud to have a radio voice, because I've always been told I had a face for radio.
You should hear the stuff that we get told.
Yeah.
Well, how's things going, guys?
Things are going great with us, and of course, you have become, I think, the hardest working tool, music, diesel, you name it, guy that I know, Clay. Because your hands are in so many pies right now. You come up with cranberries on one hand, blueberries on the other, got apple on your nose. I don't know. So, I give you credit for that. I like what you're doing. I like it.
Well, man, I started out, young in my career. I've got an addictive personality, right? So I started out with guitar, and I love guitars a lot, and obviously music, and then tools. And then when I got a little older, I figured out beer was good. So they all just kind of go together,
Well, I've always said cars and guitars, that's always a good mix, That's kind of how our people follow along. But the thing now is you were at the PRI show, like some of our other friends were, and I know you laid down some pretty cool videos. So tell us about this stuff, because man, you're like I said, you're getting your fingers into. I learned some stuff about tools this weekend that I didn't know before. So all from that video.
Yeah. Well, we went to SEMA. I think it was about 5 weeks ago, and obviously the SEMA show in Vegas, is well worth the trip. They've got something for everybody, there, and really good show. And the same people that put SEMA on actually put the PRI show on that's in Indianapolis.
Okay.
We went to it, and, a lot of cool stuff. Was looking for the newest, latest, greatest, coolest tool like everybody in the industry is, and they had a couple of things there that we found. And some of the stuff is kind of overlooked, like you don't really think about a deburring tool, till you need one.
Right.
And another cool product I found it's a new parts washer brushes. They're made in America. The guy started out making paint brushes and stuff. And he had some real high-end paintbrushes. And when the pandemic hit, he was sitting in his basement, wanted to clean something, and come up with a brand new parts washer brush, and it's really, really cool. So those will be shown real soon.
I'm interested in that because the parts washing brushes I have are either too soft or too stiff.
Right. I was just thinking the same thing. I was like, Clay, what makes a good parts washing brush? Other than the fact that that's hard to say.
Like the number one problem with a parts washer brush is after you use them a little bit, they start fanning out, right?
Yes.
So
yeah,
and then they don't work as well because obviously if they fan out, they're not getting the debris and stuff off the parts that you need them to clean. So like at my shop, we would take a zip tie and put around them, to kind of stiffen them up, and then you need them to kind of fan out a little bit to cover more surface area. So then you got to cut your zip tie off and all this.
Right.
But this guy, because he was in the paintbrush industry, he applied that same technology to a parts washer brush. It's a different fiber that's in it that he uses, but the density of the bristles in there, like he says, he has some of the top-of-the-line parts washer brushes laying there against his. And he said, like, if you pull all their fibers out and you count them, mine will have 5 to 10 times as many.
Wow.
And they're compressed so much, he's like, mine will never fan out. And like he was showing us, like he was beating them against the table, like straight down, and they would always go back to form because of the density of the bristles in it.
Nice.
But it's he's got like a soft and a medium and a coarse stiffness. But the coolest thing is he come out with one that's brass.
Whoa.
Got brass bristles in it. So
okay.
Pretty cool.
Wow. That is neat.
Yeah.
And that's something that, like you said, you hardly think about, but it's when you need it. My favorite became the one that I put on my parts washer. The hose goes into it and the fluid runs through the brush. Because now you're applying
all are that way. Yeah.
I like, once I found that one, I said, this is great. But sometimes you just stand alone. You have to use it somewhere else, and that's
right.
Well, that's what's great about that's what's great about this country. There's people that can still come up with stuff like this. We need more of that, and we need a lot more of that because it's out there. I know it is.
It's true. It's true. And I'm still using brushes that are just either an old toothbrush or a metal brush, or like you say, a brass brush. And I haven't found that one in the middle that will work correctly. And Koon, I think Clay, I think you solved that problem. Yeah, totally. I think it's wonderful.
I believe in the KISS rule. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yep.
And it always seems to work. Like I remember a long time ago when we was in school, we was learning about how they went to space. And like NASA spent a couple of $1 million to invent an ink pen that would write in zero gravity.
Yes,
so sure. Not to take notes. In Russia, they're like, hey, we'll send a pencil.
That's right. Russia, they the cosmonauts use the pencil.
Right?
Talk about KISS. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
What did that pen cost us to develop, I wonder? How many millions of
Yeah.
But we did it.
Well, that's sort of like another one of the coolest tools that I found is the spring tools.
Yes, I want to talk about those. That's Eric. I have his name here. Eric Thun. Is that how you say his last name? Thun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So, he took pretty much a roll pin punch or a chisel or a center punch and put a spring on it with a striker on the other end. Super simple idea, but it works just amazingly well,
Yeah, I tell you something. When I first saw it, I thought, and I saw it. It wasn't your video. I saw it somewhere else and said, it's a gimmick. I don't know. I've had the spring-loaded one that worked for a while and then that stopped working, so I go back to my old. But then when I watched your video and watched the inclusive display, I said, you know what? There's something to this. This looks a little bit, you got to spend a little bit of time with this. Chris, everybody should go to Clay's YouTube channel. You just put in Koon Trucking. Well, Clay, how do you like to direct people to your channel? What's the fastest way?
Yeah, it's just Koon Trucking, or Instagram, the same thing,
right.
but I've kind of used to. I would look for the most technological advancements and tools. If it was a ratchet with more teeth or whatever. Now I'm kind of going back, I guess, reversing that. The simpler stuff is it never fails.
Yeah,
it's sort of like the pencil deal. And another cool product that I found recently is called nut wax. I don't know if you've seen the video I did with it.
Yes,
but what is that? I'm new to this. What is that called again?
It's called nut wax.
Nut
and it's
wax.
Just a super simple product. Like, we've all been in situations where you needed a screwdriver, and it's going in a place where if you drop it, it's a problem, or you can't magnetize, a screwdriver tip that'll work in everything. For instance, stainless steel screws, right? You can magnetize a screwdriver all day. It ain't gonna matter. Well, this stuff is just a wax compound. You just put a little bit on the tip of your screwdriver, and it'll hold screws and nuts in your socket, and, the nuts in your wrench.
Now, this is something that Chris needs. I mean, we all do, but because many years ago, Chris, I know he remembers, I happened to give Chris a nut brush for Christmas, and it was made to clean his lug nuts, and he misconstrued it, and he said, "Hey, how come you didn't give me the stainless steel one? I like the metal bristle." I'm like, no, this is... So anyway, that was a whole nother thing. But the
Clay, nothing was going to make me smile like nut wax right now.
Right.
Well, I remember listening to the radio show where you was talking about that.
Okay.
So it's been a while back. It's probably a year ago.
And you know what? I gave nothing. It was probably 10 years ago.
I got all new material right now.
Right.
5 minutes.
But the nut wax, like you said, I kind of forgot that because you debuted that one months ago, and I remember I got right on the horn. I asked you about it. I said, "Where do I get my nut wax?" Because I could see where that could, and we've all we've all been in situations where that's handy. You're working maybe over your head. You got to put a screw in upside down, or some of those weirdo positions, or that when it falls, it's lost. So you want to be safe.
Yeah.
But
it's super inexpensive. I mean, very, very inexpensive.
But the spring tool, Chris, is cool because it's a big spring in the middle, and you kind of pull it and let it go, and you pull it and let it go, and then it actuates through the center. And man, this thing is...
And you don't need the nut wax if you could do that.
Well, not with that, no. But this thing is punching through pennies and through metal and through, you name it. It's... Wow. Very...
Well, his manual impact driver is awesome, too, because, there's times where... you've got a strip screw, or somebody's boogered it up and your screw's slipping. Like in my situation, one of the most useful reasons that we would need something like that is when you're taking a transmission out of a big truck. They got the ring on the floor that keeps the rubber boot down on the shifter, right?
Yes.
Well, those screws always get gummed up, just from stuff for your feet, coffee spilling, all that. You'll always strip them, and it's a pain. But a manual impact, hand driver impact, whatever you want to call it, works perfect in this situation. But what his is different. It don't, like the one like Snap-on sells that I think Lyle makes it for them or whatever. But you hit it with a hammer. You kind of twist it a little, hit it with a hammer, and it actually, I guess, amplifies the turn.
Because it is spring-loaded inside. That's how it works.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, his is completely different the way it's designed. It actually drives the force down, just like the rest of the spring tools, but it reforms that screw head.
Yeah, I saw that.
So it can be round, and it'll kind of drive itself in there and bite where you can take it out.
Yeah, and when I watched you do that at the show, or I think it was Eric who did it. I thought back to the days of when I was in the rebuilding shop, and we used to do a lot of marine stuff, and those screws were always gone. And a lot of times you just cut them out. But what I learned to do is take either a ball peen hammer or a flat punch in a hammer and just flatten out the Phillips head, just kind of mar it back straight, and then take an impact driver and bang it in, and then put the hand driver in and whack that, and because that's what we had, and that worked. But that's another great innovation. And it was cool. I think it was you who mentioned how younger guys, when you say impact driver, they're going to think of a handheld Milwaukee or a Ryobi or us guys know, like, no, I have the hand driver is the hand. That's the impact tool. It's the manual impact tool.
Clay, I'm assuming that this manual impact driver can be used in like close quarters, right? You can get it into small little spots and.
Well, you don't have to beat it with a hammer either. Like, you just pull it back and let it go.
That's great.
So there's a lot of situations where you can't hit it with a hammer just because of the confined space you're working in. So, and that
has a 3/8 drive end on it, correct?
Right.
Okay, good. Yeah, just like the standard.
It's a quarter inch.
Okay.
Is what it is, like a 1/4-inch bit driver.
Right. Okay.
That all the bits fit in, but they have the adapters to put sockets on it as well.
Okay. Yeah. So it's more of a modern design on the older tool. I got it. No, that's
brilliant. Because you're in a place where you really can't use heat to loosen them up, and you really can't move around a lot.
When I saw. When you did the second video, and I saw the length of the table that he had with the products, I thought he was going to have a couple things. He had so much more than I ever expected.
Yeah.
Wow. I was like,
and he's got a lot of stuff coming out. Like, we talked, we actually went out that night and had dinner, and he does zero advertising.
Wow.
Like, he didn't even have an Instagram until that night.
When you made that post and said his new, I figured, okay, over dinner, Clay signed him up right there and showed him how to make an Instagram account. So.
I did, and like I told him, I said, like, the generation that we're in now, like, most of our new tools are shown on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or whatever. And, if he don't have that, say 35-year-old and younger mechanics or technicians or anybody that purchases tools will never know about it,
And you know what else? I'll tell you, but us older guys too, because we're influenced. I'm, going through Twitter and Instagram all the time, and those, you get a sponsored ad that comes up even. And usually I'm not interested in it, but there's a couple that grab my eye and say, hey, you know what? Wow, I need that. And it's just how we they make it so easy. That's how we adapt. But Clay, do you want to get into and break the news on our show about Mobile Tool Network?
Sure. Well, when we started with Trebus, we sat down with Matco, and we had a meeting with Matco, and they was going to purchase our wrenches. Obviously, if you have a USA-made product, it costs more just because of the labor and the overhead. Because, we're Americans, right? We feel like we're entitled to a lot better salary than anywhere else. Right. And I know there's people going to be upset about that, but it is what it is. We worked hard in this country to if it's USA stamped, it's a better quality, right?
Yeah. And it costs a lot to live here. Yeah.
Guitars or, whatever. Like, if it's USA on it, it's a better made product. So when we sit down with Matco, the first thing we did was started talking about the price of the tool. The first thing they wanted us to do was, well, you should look at having this made in Taiwan or China or somewhere else, and you could bring the cost down. So we had that discussion. But at the end of the day, they were still going to retail it for the same price that we're selling a USA-made tool.
Right.
Because of the channels it has to go through, because everybody has to make money every time it's touched.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So after we had this meeting, we were sitting there at a Buffalo Wild Wings, my favorite place.
Yeah.
Good place to hold a meeting.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, there's got to be a better way. Like, if we could, pretty much go to the end user via tool trucks, like, it's a better way to introduce tools to the market. So that was kind of the birth of Mobile Tool Network right there. Because there's a lot of really good brands that have to erase their brand. For example, Spring Tools. He's been selling it for years under Snap-on and with Mac name on it. But nobody knew who his name was. Just like the original inventor of the RBRT bits, nobody knows that that's Grip Tool and Technology. They assume that's Mac that invented that. So in 30 years from now, if something happens to the original owner, his great grandkids will never know that my grandfather was a part of this.
Right. And look at the way Lyle and Lang tools, companies like that, get rebranded all the time, and fantastic tools, but you don't always know.
So, that was kind of our end goal, was to bring a little transparency to the industry and have it so a smaller company doesn't have to erase his brand to succeed.
Oh, let me jump in for a second so I don't forget. Next week, we're going to have Luke Tucker from Easy Red, which is another company that gets rebranded quite often by the tool trucks. Luke is going to be our guest next week. So
they're New Jersey guys, right?
Yeah, yes. Yeah. He was from New York. I think the business is in New Jersey, yes.
Well, we actually sell Easy Red on our platform. Mm-hmm. We sell pretty much everything that's rebranded. We have the OEM manufacture of those tools. But we wanted to make it like, I know you're good friends with tool truck guys, and I've got a lot of tool truck guys that I'm really good friends with. Mm-hmm. And one of the issues that they face is the software is outdated on every single tool truck in America. Like it's only one click above a piece of paper and an ink pen, right?
Yes. It's a pencil. I like Russia.
Right.
So when we started talking about this, we decided that if we're going to build it, we're going to build it from ground up, and we're going to build it right to start with. So we hired programmers so we wouldn't have to be dependent on anybody else for our software. We could make changes anytime. We could modify it. We could make it custom per tool truck, custom per user, however it needed to be. So we built a platform. A tool truck can pull up to a shop. And one of the reasons why this idea come to me is here we have some pretty large Caterpillar facilities that actually do the reman units for Caterpillar themselves, right? Mm-hmm. So during the pandemic, the trucks could pull up to the gate. The guys had to come out. So they would have to sit and text each guy, hey, I'm out here. Hey, I'm out here. Mm. So the first thing we built in was a text message integration program. So the tool truck could say it's a Monday route. He clicks Monday. He clicks the shop he's at. He types the text message and hits send. It sends it to each individual user, not a group text, because we all hate group text.
Yeah.
True.
Says, hey, I'm here. If he's got new tools that he wants to share with his guys, he can send out one mass text to everybody on his route, and they can all see the new product. It's just small things like that we did. And then we started looking at, okay, Matco, Snap-on Mac, Cornwell, they've all got decent software platforms to operate their business, manage their cash flow, manage their inventory, ordering products. They're all pretty good in that category. Mm-hmm. An independent guy, he don't have that. Like, he's back to a tablet,
Right.
So we built a full software platform that can operate everything for the guy. He can load custom tools in it, whether he buys them from our platform or he buys them from ISN or Medco, or even if he buys them from Home Depot, he can load them in there as a custom product and have them offered. So when I describe the selling side of our software, I say it's kind of like ISN, which is Integrated Supply Network. Every tool truck in America purchases from them. And Amazon have a baby. Well, that's where we're at.
Right. So, Clay, how can people find and get associated with Mobile Tool Network?
Well, Mobile Tool Network, we only sell to the tool trucks. We don't sell to the end customer.
Okay.
So, if you got a tool truck guy and you're interested in it, you go to mtn.tools. That's it. No .com, no www, just mtn.tools. And he can sign up as a user. But the beauty of it is it allows his customers to shop 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it's still like they purchased it from his truck. So everything we have can be drop shipped to the customer. He still makes the product on it. Because another reason why we built this is, I see the decline of tool trucks because everybody's like, oh, man, Lyle makes this or Lang makes this. They don't buy it from the tool truck. They want to save that little bit of money, so they order it from Amazon.
Yeah.
So we buy in bulk quantities enough that we can compete with Amazon prices. But our tool trucks are still in the fight. They're not going to be extinct in 10 years.
Good.
And that's kind of what we was looking at when we did this. But the tool truck can actually sign his users up. They can make payments through a portal. They can order tools through a portal. And we have a lot of really good specials. Like right now, Montezuma toolboxes.
Oh, yeah.
We give everybody 90 days to pay.
Oh, wow.
Interest-free.
That's cool.
Nice.
So, and we import most of the knee post ratchets into the United States now.
Yeah, nice stuff.
Through KTC. But one thing in Japan, the pawl and the anvil is considered consumables. So when we worked the buying agreement out with KTC, we had to offer a lifetime product.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we had. It took a long time to get these guys to understand this. Yeah. In America, if you buy a tool that says lifetime warranty, it's all covered. There's no, well, this is excluded, you know.
Right.
Over there, it's consumables.
I see. Yeah.
So we had to work out a deal where we had to buy enough that they would supply the anvils and the pawls to be field repairable for free to the end user.
Okay, good.
So if you buy one from Amazon or you buy it through anybody else that sells them in America and your anvil and pawl breaks, well, you're going to buy anvil and pawl. It's not covered.
Right.
Unless you buy it through our platform.
Interesting. All right. Well, that's a nice little nuance. And I tell you what else is consumable is time on this show. So what we have to do now is take our bottom of the hour break. And we need to know if, Chris, if we do have a Motormouth Radio Honor Group of the Hour.
Let me look around. Let me go. Oh, yeah, here it is.
It's on the shelf behind you. What's that? Yeah.
Yes. We do have a Motormouth Radio Honor Group of the Hour this week, Ray. And this week, if you drop the oil pan bolt into the tub of dirty oil during the oil change,
of course,
and you are part of this Motormouth Radio exclusive group that we held every week. Do you pride yourself on not spilling a drop of oil on the ground during an oil change? Do you revel in the fact that you never need a shop rag during the oil changing process? Do you love the way your hands never get dirty while changing your own oil? Does all of these thoughts disappear when old Fumble Fingers drops the oil pan bolt into the thick, dirty oil while attempting to screw it back into the oil pan? And sometimes you could use some of that nut wax. That'll work there, too.
Yeah.
So I hope the wife and the kids don't get to hear what you have to say after that moment, because I'm sure it's not nut wax. And give yourself a big pat on the back when you successfully fish the thing out, because you are part of the Motormouth Radio Honor Group of the Hour. There you go.
Well, I know who's not, and that's you. And let me tell you also that you should listen to Radio Rumble on this fine station Saturdays at noon. I caught part of it yesterday. There's a vast knowledge of pop culture and unique sense of humor with host Justin Greenberg, where he brings you a show unlike any other, where he plays everything from classic rock hits from the 50s all the way to today's superstars. And he's a young guy, and he pays a lot of homage to the older stuff. Clay, I need you to hang with us. When we come back, I want to talk about a Matco guitar. That's
absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to come back. So we're going to take a quick little break. We're going to do a shortened one this time, and we will be back in a minute or two. No, not even a minute. After I know that you were out last night doing some band work, and you may have a little bit of a swollen head like Chris usually does. So we're going to kick it off a little bit of Motorhead for you. just to make sure you're nice and awake. And we'll be back with more Motormouth Radio. Ray Guarino, Chris Switzer, and our guest Clay Koon. And we will be back in just a short minute or two with more. So keep it where you got it on 90.3 WHPC.
This one's dedicated to all the angels in there. And everybody else really, but especially them. It's called Iron Horse, Born to Lose.
This show on 90.3 WHPC is brought to you by CarStar Celebrity Chase Collision, with 2 locations in Limerick and Oceanside, who remind you that New York state law says you always have the right to choose which shop will fix your car. CarStar Celebrity Chase Collision offers a full range of services: 24-hour towing between Montauk and Manhattan, shuttle service, and they can help you with a rental car arrangement if needed. All repairs include the CarStar Lifetime Nationwide Warranty, ensuring that the experts at Celebrity Chase Collision are always on your side.
Y sí, hablamos español.
More information is available by calling 516-593-0920 or visiting online at celebritychasecollision.com.
Hey you, get over here. Every Sunday, 12 to 1, you are going to tune in to hear the Motormouths, my friends Ray Guarino and Chris Switzer. 90.3 FM, WHPC. You might learn something.
And if you're like us, listening to Motorhead, you may learn some really cool guitar riffs because these guys were kind of the master of the heavy metal guitar riffs. So we are back. Ray Guarino, Chris Switzer with Mr. Clay Koon from Koon Trucking, and God, we're going to have to hang like all the little shingles out under Clay's name because he's doing so many things these days, but they're all
Yes.
good. So, speaking of guitars, I know Matco had a promotion, Chris, on the truck. They sell some promotional stuff throughout the year, and there was a nice lead guitar. Electric guitar, and Clay was able to get himself one. Matco man Brian couldn't even get his yet. His is on like national back order. But Clay, the thing I wanted to know was you did a video where you had the guitar actually in use, being played, and then on a later video you were on the truck with Matco Michael's wife, and the subject came up, and you told her that you had a totally. I forget the words you used, but she said, "Oh, you had to tune it," and you said, "No, it needed a little more than just a tune. It needed, more setup." And I was talking to Matco man Brian about that, and he goes, "Yeah, absolutely. That's always the way it is." And I'm curious, what actually had to be done to make that guitar playable to your standards?
Well, obviously in the video that you seen on Instagram, the guitarist that was playing that, his name is Caleb Walker.
Okay.
He goes by Chick for obvious reasons. He's a ladies' man and a super talented guitarist. He plays in a local band here, Paxton P. They play a lot in Nashville and all over, but the guy's just gifted with talent on the guitar. But that was when we first got it off the truck. We pretty much, tuned it up and let it roll. And obviously he made it sound good just because he's extremely talented at guitar. But, it needed a lot of setup work on it to make it playable. The action was set way too high.
Okay. The
intonation was really bad on the guitar. It's an Epiphone. And back in the day, in the 60s, 50s, Epiphone was a great guitar because it was made by Gibson.
Yeah.
And, now they're a Chinese-made guitar. But after we got it set up and stuff, it turned out to be a lot better. But, it's kind of all what a guy likes. If you like USA-made stuff, it's hard to ever find anything non-USA made to compete with it,
Yeah.
Because I'm a guitar fan. I love guitars, and obviously the USA made stuff is way better playable. It's just more detail that goes in it, like how it feels in your hand.
So it is I haven't seen one in person. It's a real nice looking guitar. Is it as nice in person as it is on when I see it on the web?
Yeah, it's a beautiful guitar. It's gorgeous. I posted some pictures of it on my Instagram, but it doesn't do it justice. It's almost like all the white's kind of a pearlescent on that guitar, and it really pops. It's a beautiful guitar.
Nice. So you're going to use it as a player or as a wall hanger?
You can play it, I guess, but it's kind of like if you got like a old ratchet from the 50s versus a modern ratchet. There's a huge difference in the guitars, just the way it feels and plays, Obviously, it's a Les Paul Jr. is what it's modeled after, and, it's only got the single pickup on the back. But, it's a nice guitar. It's cool. I got it really just for show.
Right. Yeah, it's, that's kind of the idea with something like that. That's cool. People have asked me about it, and I said, I'll get to the bottom of this. Don't worry. We'll talk to the right guy. Like I said,
just want to get back to the tool truck for a second. I do want to ask a question. How does the consumer hook up with the truck? Or, Clay, do you just deal with the professionals and the truck? How does that work?
You're talking about with Mobile Tool Network?
With Mobile Tool Network, yes.
Okay. Obviously, the plan moving forward is we're just getting our feet under us. We've got one DC that services the West Coast. It's out of Spokane, Washington. We're fixing to have another one here where we're at. That way we can service the East Coast, and we'll be able to provide a full 2-day shipping to anybody in America once we have this going. And that should be in the next month. But the tool trucks actually sign up, and they can sign up all the guys on their route. A lot of tool truck guys are limited by their areas that they have their franchise agreement, says, hey, you can't sell outside of this area or this area. But obviously not everybody that follows their social medias, has a tool truck. So these guys are kind of just like left out on the limb, right? So instead of these guys buying it from Amazon, if their tool truck is part of Mobile Tool Network, and he wants to sell to those customers, he can, and he still makes the money just like they're standing on his truck.
That's right. Because we know a lot of the tool trucks, you will find a lot of Milwaukee stuff. You'll find some other, not the branded tools, because that's what the guys are using in the shop. So the guys are saying, hey,
right,
pick it up, we'll use it. It's,
Yeah, because I'm basically wondering how I, as a consumer, nothing short of flagging down a truck in the middle of the street, how would I have access to it? Or can I order something and have it shipped from the Mobile Tool Network site? I'm just trying to figure out how to get the tools in the hands of the consumer. How does that work? That's where I'm going.
Well, if you're signed up with us, let's say you guys, if you're in New York or New Jersey or whatever, and we have a dealer, we have submissions every day through our site and also on Instagram. They're like, hey, I live in, this area. We're going to go down our list and say, hey, this guy is the dealer in your area. Here's his contact info. So we can actually connect him with the new users that request to purchase tools, because we don't sell to the end customer. And, we want the tool trucks to make money, because if they don't, they're going to lose everything they have to Amazon.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And, I've got a lot of tool truck friends. They're all across America, and that's the last thing I want to see.
Yeah. Clay, can you, we're on that subject, can you speak a little bit? I know you've covered this in your videos, but for those who haven't seen it, when a guy will buy, say, a Milwaukee or a Ryobi tool from Amazon, and then he brings it onto the tool truck and he says, I need it warranted. Can you touch on that subject a little, and what the problems with that are?
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously, the main advantage of buying from a tool truck is you get the service of that guy. Like, it's not just right now. Like, anybody can buy a tool right now. That doesn't matter. It's what happens in a year when it breaks or your batteries start to go bad or whatever, and the tool's under warranty. You take that back to stores, they're going to be, oh, you got to contact the manufacturer. You got to contact this guy. You got to contact that guy. Well, with Milwaukee, for example, if you read their terms, they don't want a warranty after third party, meaning if you don't buy it from one of their authorized sellers, they don't want to warranty the tool. Now, I personally haven't had issues with that, but I do a lot of videos and I get a lot of comments, pro and con. Like, some say, oh, I don't have no problem. Some say they refused it because I purchased it from Amazon. All I know is every time I've ever had an issue with anything I've ever bought through my tool trucks, it got repaired or I got a brand new one.
Exactly.
No questions asked.
I have had the best. I have had the best service and best luck on the tool trucks, because as a customer, you have a relationship with the truck owner and driver, and like your relationship is one that everybody wants to have, because you really you're in solid. But we all of us, like I said, we like with Matco Man and Brian, another great guy, and having been a technician and in the field, he knows what it's like to have a good tool guy. So he kind of extends that forward to his customers, and he says, a lot of times these guys will go out of their way when they shouldn't, but then again, it's either because you like the customer, or it's in the name of good business going forward, paying it forward. And it's like having a mom and pop deli or bakery or
exactly. Right? It's a small business. It's your local small business, Right. And one of the comments that burns me up more than anything when I look at, when I release a video and I get comments like, "That's crazy to spend that when you can go to Amazon and buy it here and buy it here and buy it here."
Yep.
Okay. Well, these are guys that obviously hasn't built a relationship, or maybe they don't even have a tool truck. Mm-hmm. But these guys spend a lot of money. Like, they're buying a truck. It's $150,000 to $170,000 to sell tools out of. Mm-hmm. They have their insurance. They have their fuel. And then they pay for the tools and sell them to the customers at an interest-free weekly payment that may take them 10 weeks to get their money back.
Right.
All of this has to happen before they even make any money. Like, I don't know anybody that gets up and goes to work and go, I don't care if I make any money or not. I'm just going to work today.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know about you, but I go to make money. I could sit on my porch and drink beer and go bankrupt,
Yeah, without a doubt. You're right. And, I guess that's it. People look at the tool truck like a store, and they don't really realize that it's a small business, and this guy's laying out a lot of his money and, of course, his time. So,
well, I hear it all the time. They're like, well, Matco's, it costs too much for Matco. It costs too much from Snap-on. It costs too much from Formwell. They make billions of dollars. Okay, corporate does. They make a lot of money off these guys. But the end user, he's just getting a portion of that. The tool truck, I should say.
Right.
Because he has to pay those fees to even sell the products.
Right.
But with all of that in consideration, I don't know any guys that's, going to say, nah, I'm not going to warranty that lifetime warranty ratchet for you.
I got to say, too, between Matco Man Brian, who's my guy, he's my favorite, and Jovan Hamilton, you're a Snap-on guy. He is one. These two guys are kind of, people would say they're the most irreverent tool guys in the world because they know how to make fun of themselves and the company they work for.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta watch this stuff. Matco Man Brian needs a channel, but you gotta watch Clay's. Clay, we're gonna have to go. We're gonna have to let you run, but please, before we go, let's get it out. Tell everybody how they can find you. List all your social media contacts and whatnot because people need to watch your stuff.
Man, I'm really active on YouTube and Instagram. I have a TikTok as well. All of it's Koon Trucking, Koon Trucking. Obviously, I have a Facebook, but I never get on Facebook. I'm not a Facebook guy. I don't like the way it's laid out. I don't like the platform, but I had to build one for my business page.
Yeah,
but I'm really I love Instagram. I think Instagram's a great platform, and YouTube.
Yes, and the YouTube stuff is great. I look forward to the. You do usually at least 3 videos a week, sometimes more, and I always look forward to them. They're in my, since I'm subscribed, it's on my favorites list, so I see it. And we do have a link.
That.
We do have a link to you on motormouthradio.com, I believe. You got to be on here somewhere. So I was just looking, but yeah, like I said, if you want to see that's how I found Clay, Chris. If people don't know, I looked in YouTube and I searched for a review for a Snap-on tool that I was thinking of purchasing, and Clay had done a video of it, of course, and it came up, and I said, hey, I like this guy. Once I can get used to listening to, figuring out what he's saying, and he said the same thing first time we spoke on the phone. He goes,
I was going to say, he's probably figuring out what we're saying.
Hey, Ray, once I can figure out what the hell you're saying.
You have to speed my video up so you can understand me. I have to slow yours down.
Yeah. Exactly. I love it. But you know what? The beauty of it is, at the end of the day, we're all on the same page, and that's what it's all about. So, Clay, I thank you for taking the time out of your Sunday to call us and update us on PRI and the new stuff at with Spring Tools, because that's fantastic. I'm going to look into that stuff myself. And and we look forward to keeping in touch with you. We will keep in touch with you, and stay well, brother, and we'll speak soon.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me. Y'all have a great day.
All right, Clay. Thank you.
Take care, Clay.
All right, so long.
Thanks, man. You too.
All right. That was the great Mr. Clay Koon from Koon Trucking, and I said his YouTube channel is fantastic. You can find all sorts of great stuff on there. So
very cool. That was good to know, and I'm loving the mobile trucking. I think that's mobiletrucking.com. I think it's a smart idea.
Well, like I said, if you watch Clay's stuff, you'll see that he does videos every week. He does a Snap-on video with the Snap-on guy, Matco and Mac, and then an independent. This guy Joe who has an independent truck, and he'll do a video with him as well. And then Clay does his own product testings, like with the Nipros or the Knipex, and in his own studio. And it's it's like us, Chris. When you grow up in an environment like that, where your baker, your cobbler, your shoemaker, you're the guy who does. I was really upset in my town. There was a guy, a little shoemaker shop. He moved a couple times, and I see he finally went out of business. Now,
oh boy,
it could just be, hey, he aged out and said, you know what, I'm too old to do this. What am I doing? And of course, I'm sure the business dropped off a bit. I mean, I used to bring him stuff to give him work, not because because you could go get something new. But I wanted, let's keep the guy in business. And it just might have been time for him, which is okay. But Clay knows that these guys run their business. It is a small business, and it's hard to do.
Yeah. Especially now in this day and age, it's tough to keep a small business running. And when you're specialized like a shoemaker or like a tool truck, it's you're counting your pennies and you're hustling for a living. And I tip my hat to these people, because the ones that are still in business, and even the ones that really tried and had to reinvent,
right?
Give them a lot of credit. They're out there swinging and pushing and pulling, and you got to hand it to them. They're hustling for a living, and I appreciate that. And yes, I will give them the business first before I resort to Amazon. But I tell you, Amazon is a tough wall to get over.
It is.
That is really, and we've kicked ourselves in the butt on this show, talking about how we would go do what we have to do, do the right thing first, and then end up going to Amazon to get our job done.
I just did it 2 weeks, like I said, with the brakes. I just did it 2 weeks ago. Yeah. That's right. I just got a message from Skip Bar. The hard part South Bronx was 2012, which is kind of what we guessed. Yeah, kind of what we figured, 10 or 12. Yeah, right around there. So
it's true. We're coming up to 10 years. Wow! Holy smokes! Yeah. That is amazing. 10 years, like a blip, just like 20 years.
Yeah, and we are coming up to 20 years of doing this show. Which will be next month, right? Yeah.
Yep. Jeez. Sure, in a couple of weeks. Frightening.
I know. Just think of what we've learned in those 20 years.
Not much.
Yeah.
No. we haven't learned how to make this show successful. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, certain things you just never seem to. Yeah. We made a lot of friends, though. Made a lot of good friends. I'll tell you that much.
We did. Yeah. We did. I must admit, it has been life-changing for me personally doing this program with you, especially in all those years. But because we've been doing, you and I have been doing this show the longest. That's for sure.
Well, that's for darn sure. That is for darn tootin'. And and we're coming.
You have surpassed me in Motormouth Radio time.
Right.
That is definitely proven. Has been proven.
And we're at the end of this one now, Chris. So we got to get out of here. So Kim can come in and do Thunder Road, Best of Springsteen and the gang. We'll be back next week. We'll have Luke Tucker from Easy Red.
Cool.
And we'll have some fun. So for Chris Switzer, Ray Guarino, what do you say that John always says that you always say?
Don't follow us home, and don't forget your nut wax.
Right. With that, we're out of here. 90.3 WHPC. See ya.
See you, bye.